Hey you all, welcome back to Pearls of Eden, and let us talk about the current news on this lunch break. Fema, have you all heard? Breaking news, right? $59 million they sent just as of last week to illegal immigrants to house them in luxury, you all, in New York City, despising and going against the orders of President Trump, right? So that's not going to be okay. But more importantly, you all, they're sending $59 million to house illegals, right? But they sent $700 to the American people when they have any type of natural disaster. Think about North Carolina. They kicked so many people, families, out of their hotels because they couldn't afford to continue to pay for it, So they said once your vouchers were out, you're on your own. But yet we spent $59 million just as of last week going against presidential orders to house not just in, regular old hotels, but luxury accommodations. Does anyone see a problem with that, right? That is a problem because we're not even taking care of, until this administration stepped in, the North Carolina people are just getting real relief. It took this administration to come in and things to begin to shift. The people are finally getting set up in homes. They're getting the relief they need. But before, it was like, here's your $700 and you're on your own. But this type of stuff is going on. This is why we have to know where our money, where our tax dollars are being spent. Now, Trump created this Department of Government Efficiency with Elon Musk, which many of the Democrats were so upset. Why? Because it was going to expose where all of this money was going, and he was not going to leave any nook or cranny unturned, no stone unturned, right? And we should be applauding this because he's looking into every department to see where our hard tax dollars is going, you all. And so USA, people couldn't believe where all of the money was going. Take a look. Knowledge is power. Understanding these things. You cannot afford just to let the news media or me or anyone else feed you what is truly happening. You need to, be involved in this process to know what is happening with your nation, your country, and your tax dollars. But take a look, because this is where your good old hard-earned coins going to research for transgender operations, drum roll, for animals. Where is PETA in the madness? Now, PETA is always ready to throw some paint on somebody if they're wearing a fur. But what about them altering their bodies? They're mutilating these animals for their research for transgenderism. Where is PETA? That lets you know. That lets you know more than what you wanted to know. Take a look.
Databases it was pretty incomplete.
So you think we're going to find out that it was much more money than that for
Yes.
transgender animal testing?
Yes.
Can you describe what exactly the American people's taxpayer dollars were spent on regarding transgender animal testing?
Yeah, in a lot of these cases, they're involve mice, rats, monkeys who are being surgically mutilated and subjected to hormone therapies to mimic female to male or male to female gender transitions.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why the Department of Government Efficiency was needed and created.
$1 million was spent for transgender animal testing?
Yes, and that's, I would say, is the floor, not the ceiling, because the information on federal databases is not.
Oh, and the gag is even the dog that they got sitting right behind the man as he's showing where all of these missed funds and all of these tax dollars is going. That dog looking like that Make America Great Again. Somebody get that dog a little bib that say Make America Great Again, because even the animals are protesting. Even the nature is saying this is a doggone crime against humanity and all flesh, even the doggy flesh and the cats. I mean, they're like, Jesus, the Lord, our God, made me a male dog. And I ain't up here trying to have no type of operations to get stuff removed. Yes, please. Speak up for the voiceless. Come on.
It was pretty incomplete.
So you think we're going to find out that it was much more money than that for
Yes.
transgender animal testing?
Yes.
Wow.
Can you describe what exactly the American people's taxpayer dollars were spent on regarding transgender animal testing?
Yeah, in a lot of these cases, they're involve mice, rats, monkeys who are being surgically mutilated and subjected to hormone therapies to mimic female to male or male to female gender transitions, gender affirming hormone therapies, and then looking at the biological, psychological, and physiological effects of the gender transitions, looking at the effects of taking vaccines. You've transitioned these animals from male to female or female to male, looking at the size of their genitals changing after you've put them on estrogen or testosterone therapies to transition them. And in the case that the chairwoman, and in the case that the chairwoman, the example the chairwoman gave, there was a $1.1 million grant to give female lab rats testosterone to mimic transgender male humans and then overdose them with this party drug to see if animals who were taking female animals taking testosterone were more likely to overdose on the sex party drug than animals who were not taking testosterone.
Mr. Goodman, are many of these taxpayer-funded animal studies shared with the public, or is there a significant oversight of this research?
You essentially needed a degree in information technology to navigate the federal spending databases to find any of this stuff.
Y'all, he basically said you had to have some type of high degree, to even know where to look for this stuff. To even be able to snoop in these databases, you had to be so technologically savvy, because they knew that they were hiding all of these devious, all of this money laundering, all of this just waste of taxpayer dollars. Y'all, do you hear me? This is what I was saying, that this was not going to be business as usual. This is why they tried to take this man out. And we still need to cover him in prayer in the blood of Jesus, because this is unprecedented. This was not going to be business as usual. And I just remember, and it just keeps affirming what the Lord told me, that this was not just the, regular politics. What you all are seeing is historical. What you all are seeing is promises made and promises kept. And we just not used to seeing that. And that's why the Democrats are in an uproar, because he's actually doing what he says. How many times have we put politicians in office and they make us all these campaign promises, but when they get to the White House, baby, we don't see none of it. They go on their own mission. But he is doing what he said he would do. He is draining the swamp. And it is like you are seeing the demons just you know how you see those horror movies, or you see when people are getting delivered and they're like screaming, what do you call it, just screeching out. That's what they look like. And I hate to say it, but when you can see in the spirit, you can see how things are so demonic. You can see it right before your eyes. Ooh, but you all, let's keep watching. This is interesting, right? Talk about the days of our lives.
So what you found is we're not being very transparent with what we're spending these funds.
Heck no, they are not being very transparent about what they're spending our tax dollars on. But the gig is up. You all, they looking under every rock. There will be no stone unturned. Your department is up next. They are going to be checking to see where all of our coins are being spent. And I don't know why anybody wouldn't be here for it. I don't know why anybody wouldn't want the corruption to be exposed. You all, it's 2025. Y'all thought 2024 was a year of exposure. We were just getting warmed up. We were just getting warmed up. Everything has to be brought to the light, right? And so as everything is being brought to the light, there's a renewal that's happening. There's a restoration that is happening. But that means in order to rebuild, I'm going to say that again, that means that there will be some tearing down, all right? And if it's not working, guess what? It's gotta go. A lot of things that we have been spending money on, and they've been saying it's to go here, it's to go here, and it's to cure this, it hasn't been so. And he is going to put our money to good use. We're going to actually rebuild America. We're going to actually get programs that work. So that may mean, you all, he's got to take something away, not because he's not going to replace it, you all, but because it wasn't working. And so we have to find another way, a new idea. Okay? And this is what the media doesn't tell you. They just want you to think that he's just taking this away, he's taking this program away, he's, not going to do this or no. We are in a rebuilding season, you all. Get excited. Oh, you all, this is what they're spending our money on. They have pulled up the receipts, you all. Take a look at this. $7.9 million to teach Sri Lanka journalists how to avoid binary gendered language. You mean we spent $7.9 million on a PD on how to say her and him and pronouns? Y'all, is this where you wanted your money to go? $20 million for a new Sesame Street show in Iraq? $4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan? $1.5 million for art for inclusion of people with disabilities? $2 million for sex changes and LGBT operations in Guatemala? Activism and what? $6 million to transform digital spaces to reflect feminist democratic principles. Why would we want... You all, listen, the corruption, this is crazy. $2.5 million to promote inclusion. What kind of inclusion in Vietnam? $2.5 million, okay. $16.8 million for a separate inclusion group in Vietnam. What is this even? What is this? And the list goes on and on. And this is what the Department of Government Efficiency, which is a new department that Donald Trump has put in place to find where our coins are being spent. $1.1 million to American LGBT groups. $1.2 million to help the African Methodist Episcopal Church Service and Development Agency in DC. Okay. And see, here's the thing, you all. I'm sure that a lot of the funds did go to help and do some great things. But then it's these other tax dollars that, you have to have a technology degree to find where our coins were even being spent, that they were not being transparent about. And this is why we have to have reform. USAID, this is why it's getting the boot. Will we have more programs that will actually help globally to help, our sisters and brothers around the world? Absolutely. But this right here, how they were pocketing our money and misusing our money, no way. And y'all, the list goes on. You can read it for yourself. I'm not going to sit here and read all through this. This is, at your disposal. Take a look at it. Look it up. So they called our local congresswoman, and had some questions about, how do you feel about the money being spent, the $59 million that has been spent just last week. Now, this has not been a month ago or 2 months ago, just last week, you all, defying presidential orders and sending $59 million to aid to put up illegal immigrants, not in just any in luxury accommodations, you all. And this is what she has to say. Take a look.
Congresswoman, what do you have to say about the fact that FEMA just spent $59 million housing illegal immigrants while people in Western North Carolina lived in tents for the past past 4 months. What do you have to say about that? Do you accept that? Do you accept that? Do you accept the fact that because DOGE exposed that today, it sounds like you have a big problem with the fact that DOGE. I'm not blocking her. I'm not blocking.
Excuse me.
Are you okay with that? Do you condemn the fact that DOGE exposed FEMA for sending $59 million to house illegal immigrants today?
All right, you all, that's enough of that, okay? So to end on a high note, I thought that I would share with you this clip about how we are making progress, how we are having such huge wins, and you probably won't see this on your local news. So here I am sharing this information so that you can see that in such a short window of time, we have made iconic, legendary improvements. All glory to God, right? Because we are in a season where we're going to win. We're in a season where we're going to see unprecedented wins. And we should relish in that, you all, because we are in this, I would say it's a Joseph time where there's 7 years where we have to build strongly, because there will come a season where we will have to eat off of those reserves. So this is the time to build. Well, anyways, you all, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Take a look at this last clip, and I'll see you soon, God willing.
Welcome to the MAGA Minute. It's been a huge week here at the White House, and let's go over the wins President Trump delivered on behalf of you, the American people. On immigration, illegal migrant encounters between the ports of entry are down nearly 87%. On the economy, President Trump laid out a plan to establish a sovereign wealth fund to better invest the more than $5 trillion in assets held by the United States. He also proposed tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico and China, and those tariffs were swiftly paused after our allies agreed to step up and address these issues. We are streamlining USAID into the State Department. President Trump signed a historic executive order to ban men in women's sport. Lastly, President Trump is already making our military strong again. Army recruitment in the month of December, with the anticipation of President Trump's return to the Oval Office, hit a 15-year high. We'll see you for next week's MAGA Minute.